Welcome everyone to my second video on the E46 M3 this year. Only 2 videos. I feel really bad and I feel like I've robbed the channel of E46 M3 content. So for today's video, I wanted to go over my perfect E46 M3 build. In my eyes, over the course of the past 5 years, everything I've done to this car to make it my perfect E46. I'm going to give you guys a full rundown because I don't think it's really on YouTube much, because I didn't really build this car on YouTube, but this was all before I started YouTubing. So this car in the past 2-3 years hasn't really gotten much done to it except for wheel changes, because it's pretty solid. All my maintenance came the first couple years of ownership. A lot of the mods came the couple years to follow that, and then now we're just basically in the period of I go out and drive it when I can. This year it happened to be less than like 150 miles, and I feel bad, so I want to go drive it. So we're going to go through the build rundown really quick. I'm going to show you guys everything I've done to this car to make it my perfect E46. And then I got the GoPro set up on the sunroof with a nice shot of the front part of the car, an angle I've never tried before. And we're just going to go for a drive, and I'm going to let you guys hear what everything sounds like, see how it drives. I'm not going to talk because I know I like to talk a lot in my driving videos, but I just want to give you guys pure E46 M3 noises and spirited driving. I think we deserve that on this channel. So without further ado, I'm going to get behind the camera, run you guys through the mods, and we're going to get on the road. So in terms of cosmetic mods, wheels, suspension are obviously done. Those are kind of the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video because it goes through so many different iterations. I've had more track-oriented specs, more like stancy-oriented specs. This, I'd say, is my perfect driver and looks setup. I've had a hard time kind of getting between both of them, but you know, I'm not going to say, oh, my perfect E46 is whatever, this and that wheel-wise, because that's not, you know, I switch them up all the time. Although I will say, I think this is one of my favorite sets I've put on this car. I think they're very period correct for this car. Better than like 5 spokes. I think those should stay on the 90s cars. So that's why the HREs went over to the E34. But I got the SSRs on here, Kumho Extra tires, which I actually really love. The rears are old Achilles that I have to eventually change out, but it's all I had at the time. Broadway static coilovers, my favorite coilover brand. Yes, it's not you know, Olin's and TC Klein and all those super expensive track coilovers, but these are a fantastic coilover for street driving, lower driving, and I would recommend them to anyone. Far better than BC. Broadway, Fortune Auto is where it's at. Otherwise, everything else, stock suspension. I have camber arms in the rear, which I don't really utilize. Other cosmetic things, status Grupp front lip. I think that's the best front lip for this car. I'm not really a fan of the CSL splitters much, and I'm not a fan of well, I actually do like stock bumper, but I thought this was a nice touch, and this is my favorite lip. Some of them are kind of big and tacky. This one sticks out the least, and that's why it is my favorite lip. Otherwise, going around, nothing else cosmetic. I wanted to keep this car all original body. I didn't want to touch the quarters. I didn't want to do anything like that. So it's got camber added onto it. That's about it. Nothing else special about the exterior of this car aside from just me always detailing it and washing it and waxing it. Interior setup, all stock except for a Storm Motorworks SMG knob, and that is something that I am very glad I did because the stock SMG knob is tacky, fake chrome, and it is ugly. That is the best thing ever. Yes, it's cold in the winter, which I don't drive in the winter, and it's hot in the summer, but it is what it is. I got the matching gator ring. Then I have a Euro tray here. Kind of indifferent about that. Otherwise, interior, all stock. So now let's get into where it matters, drivetrain wise. So this car, what I have done to the engine is nothing. It's a bone stock engine with an E46 intake. So this is, if you're kind of wondering what this is, these are kind of expensive carbon intake. I think they're like 950 bucks, maybe a little bit more now. But this is basically half of a CSL if you're going to kind of talk about intakes. So I didn't want to go the whole CSL route. I didn't want to touch any of this. This is a low mileage car, and honestly, S54s kind of scare me. So I'm kind of chilling on this. This is all good for now. The car makes more than enough power for me, and I really enjoy it. So CSL intake, not necessarily in the future. But this gives you fantastic induction noise, and it actually gives you power increase. This is a very scientific engineered piece here. It uses the Venturi effect. So if you want to look up what that is, basically there's an inner cone, outer cone, and it funnels air and kind of condenses it. And yeah, it's a cool little sciencey thing. So you actually do get power from this as opposed to a cold air intake, and it sounds great. Hopefully the GoPro will pick it up. I need to get a mic set up, but mine's not working right now. I was going to put something in the engine bay, but we're going to have to wait for that. Venturi intake. And then I have a build journal B-Spec tune, their standard tune. you know, rev limiter, power increase, and I really love that tune. I think it's a fantastic tune and really opened up this car with the airbox. So I'm very happy with those things done. SMG is tuned. I have the TTFS CSL SMG tune, which gives you rev match downshifts and kind of takes away the clunkiness of the gearbox. An absolute must. I've talked about it before on this channel. If you're having E46 M3 with an SMG, do yourself a favor, spend the $180 or so and get yourself that tune, because it makes all the difference. I highly, highly recommend it. It makes the car much more enjoyable to drive. And then anything else drivetrain wise, the only other thing done is a Status Grupp Scorza muffler. And in my mind, this is the best sounding muffler you can buy for this car. The wait times from them are iffy, but I think it looks great. It's got the big tips, I think maybe 83 millimeter. And the sound you guys will hear in a little bit is perfect. So there's the bottom there. That's kind of what it looks like. I think it's a very beautiful built exhaust. Quality's there, fitment is perfect, and it makes the car sound perfect. Not too loud, not too quiet. Basically, I never wanted to do the cat delete on this car and resonator deletes or whatever, because it makes the car very loud and gnarly. This car without cats, SOD4 is hard to tame. So stock exhaust all around except for the muffler, which adds a little bit of a deeper tone, and I think it's perfect. And it's not too loud. So you go with the Status Grupp Scorza muffler, even cherry intake. This car is the perfect 50-50 between intake noise and exhaust noise, and I'm hoping the camera will pick that up when we're driving, because I think you guys would agree with me. It is perfect. Neither overwhelms the other, and it gives you a perfect mix. So yeah, that is my E46 M3 build thus far. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I wanted to keep this car very original, or able to go back to originality, just because the low mileage and it's a clean car, and that's why I baby it. I didn't want to do anything that was too overbearing of the car. I didn't want to get too deep into any of this. So I'm very happy with the setup of this car. So now let's go ahead and fire it up, go for a ride, and I'm just gonna get you guys nothing but driving clips, no talking. So this is my time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Let's get into it. I actually really like this camera angle. Let me know what you guys think. If you would prefer that I start filming things like this. The only problem is none of my cars actually have glass sunroofs except for this one, so I can't just hang the GoPro, so I have to figure out a mount system. But if you guys would like more drives that are less of me talking and just, you know, exhaust notes, intake notes, turbo noises, please let me know. You know, sometimes I have to talk in the videos, but other times I think it's better if we just kind of drive. So from this point forward, unless I really have to say something, we're just gonna cruise, and I'll be quiet. You can see the CSL rev match downshifting right there when I went into second. Stock US software, if you're not familiar, will not rev match like that at all. It won't do anything. So CSL software is very nice. If you listen closely, hopefully on the GoPro, you can hear the sucking of the Venturi. It is a pretty noticeable whoosh of air. man, there's a 5 Series on my ass. That kind of makes me feel embarrassed. No, not an F10 5 Series keeping up with the E46 M3. Ah, dude, lame. What? I mean, I guess that makes sense. E46 M3s aren't fast, but I tell you what, that F10 is definitely not as fun as this. No matter if it keeps up straight line, it ain't hitting corners like this, it ain't handling like this. Nowhere near the type of performance the E46 M3 does that car have, I can assure you that.